Hey everyone, Ursula here with HoneyRozes, and I'm going to share with you today my intention spread, which is probably my best looking and most confusing spread in my bullet journal. I originally created it for the first time last year, and so I just wanted to make this video to tell you a little bit about how I feel like it makes me live a little bit more of an intentional lifestyle. So let's get started. So I usually start drawing out my columns from the middle of the spine outwards, and anytime I'm doing a 3-column layout, I make each column 8 squares or 8 grid things across with one square in between. And I've been using these double lines to signify thickness, I suppose, because I've decided I don't like carrying around extra pens and markers. So I pretty much only use black or blue ink, and my pen of choice is this Pilot Razor Point 2 pen, which I've been using pretty consistently now for the past couple years. And right now I am drawing out the section of this spread that is for my monthly themes. So I got the inspiration for the spread through an online course I took called Heart of the Home from Mothering Arts, and it was an online course about mothering and parenting inspired by Waldorf and the Lifeways program. But what I got out of the program was not so much how to be a good mom, but mostly how to be kind of a well-rounded human that's really being conscious about where they're investing their energy and time. So this monthly theme section is where the creator, Carrie, she would send out monthly worksheets, and she would suggest that you pick a word for your month, and she'd suggest different themes, and I liked her themes, so I just went with them. And I've learned how to write backwards and spell backwards because I really like things to be what is it called? Right, justified to the right. I like my titles to be justified to the right. So I kind of write backwards like EMEHT, theme. And it kind of takes a lot of practice, but I mess up a lot. But thankfully this notebook that I use and I love is a Breeze notebook from Taroko Shop, and I'll link it below. But it has a bright white paper, so I can use a whiteout on it. So yeah, now I am drawing out my seasons section. And under seasons, I write down festivals and events and celebrations that make each month magic, I suppose. Magic for my kids and my friends and myself. And so they might include like holidays and special like annual festivals and things like that. And they will probably affect how I fill in the rest of the spread and give me a reminder about, why each month is super cool. And then I'm closing out my section. And the next section, it used to be where I'd write my gratitude, and I'd pick three things I was grateful for. And after that, I would write out 3 recovery practice techniques. And a lot of my followers have asked, what's recovery practice? And basically, it's the things you do when life gets crazy and you're about to lose your stuff. You're about to lose it. And so you're kind of projecting into the future, like envisioning what are you going to do in situations like that. So that might be like go for a run or drink some tea or do a sun salutation. But I moved both my gratitude and my recovery practice to my monthlies. So the next section I'm putting in this new version of the spread is connection. And that's where I kind of write down who I want to make sure I connect up with for the month. And that might be I send them a letter, or I give them a gift, or I invite them to dinner, or I make a special trip to visit them. And then the next section is kind of similar, but it's probably my top priority of this spread. And that is for my friends and family, more specifically like specific tasks or things I'm going to do with them. So first is with my kids, and I might put like, I want to go ice skating. And the second is for my husband, Chris, and so maybe like I want to go to this show with him this month. And the third one is for friends, and so that might be a special thing. Like, for example, this month I'm going on a little road trip with my best friend. And so, unfortunately, I do kind of treat these things or these people like task items. They have to be checked off with a little checkbox. But, at this point in my life, that's how it has to be if I'm going to spend any time with them. And I might want to cry about it, and they might want to cry about it too, but at least I'm spending time with them, and hopefully in the future it will just become something that I need to do in life. So, and then, if something comes up, like usually I spend like a half an hour before the month starts and like actually jot down what my projections are for the month and what activities I want to do. And if I have something in mind like that rock show, like I'll put that down. And then if I don't fill up that column for the month before the month even starts, I just like give it space, and if things come up throughout the next couple weeks, I add them in there. And then probably halfway through the month, that's when I start cracking down, and I'm like, all right, I need to make sure that I fulfill these areas in my life with, I'm taking conscious steps to fulfill these areas. So it's not always like intentions. It's also, the spread also kind of acts as an archive. And so my last section in this version of this spread is my projects. And these do not include work projects that I'm not excited about or serious obligations. They're things that will kind of fill up my heart with, cozy goodness. So these are for, my community and my home and art projects. So now I'm gonna speed through this and fill this out. And I guess I'll take this speedy time, this voiceover time to talk about my handwriting. And some people have asked, what font are you using for your headers? And really it's just me attempting to make my handwriting bigger. I really love dot journals with the dot grid because the grid acts as a guide for me. So each letter is like 3/4 of a square wide and a full square tall, like for these month headers, for example. And there's like 1/4 of space in between each letter. And then for my top header right here each letter is a full square, with a half a square in between. And I have definitely spent my fair share of time making my handwriting and my headers look really gorgeous and pretty, and everyone loves it, and I get more followers, and life is great. But I'm not really into wasting that kind of time. I kind of feel like it's a waste of time when I really have a lot of other things that I would rather be doing. So right now, it looks like I'm pointing at things, but really this is a voiceover, and I don't remember what I was talking about. So, but yeah, I have been known throughout my entire life to have spent dozens of hours practicing my handwriting since I was a tiny girl. And I'm not saying my handwriting is great or anything, but just think about how bad it would look if I hadn't practiced. So when I talk about practicing, I'm talking about writing the alphabet over and over and over and getting my E's to look just perfect. And really, they only look perfect when you write really, really slow. But with enough practice, that slow writing, that slow repetitive writing really does have an effect on your fast writing too. So I'm just going to give an example. When I first started bullet journaling about 2 or 3 years ago, I started practicing French printed penmanship, and I practiced for probably maybe 4 to 6 hours one day, and then maybe another 2 hours another day. And I think that my handwriting looked way better after that. And talk about wasting time. Like, everyone chooses where they want to waste time, and apparently handwriting is a top priority for me. You know, I'm really into aesthetics, and pretty things, they make me feel better. So in these projects here, down here at the bottom, if there's a project that's gonna span over several months, I just mark how far out it goes with a little tick, a little line, and I draw a line over to it. So I know that if there's an empty little bubble, it's not because I was lazy, it's because that project hasn't come to an end yet. And just a little disclaimer on this. I filled in January, and it's actually February because I actually created a different version of this spread that looks exactly the same elsewhere. And so I'm just making it look pretty for this video by filling in January here too. And there it is, mostly filled out. We will see how it changes by the time I make a new one in 4 months. But I did want to flip back here to my monthlies to show you how I've pulled a couple things out of my last version and put them over here. We've got my recovery practice and my gratitude and my self-care projections, where we have the physical, spiritual, intellectual, and social goals. And I used to have emotional down there, but I took it out because I kind of figured that it was, all encompassing of the 4 things. And so there you have it. They live here on my February monthly spread because I look at this, every day, whereas my intention spread, I only check back and look at that maybe once a week. So yeah, it's just more in my face over in my monthlies. And yeah, let me know if you use any kind of version of this in your own planning. I'd love to see it. I'll link my products I've been using and comment below if you have any questions. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Ciao.